All right, so let's just talk briefly about Star Wars. There's this recent comments. There's a new Star Wars movie in the works, sort of, or going to be in the works soon, featuring Daisy Ridley as Rey, who, not the most popular character who's ever been in Star Wars, but not the most hated or anything. I think she's relatively controversial. Overall, I think that the sequel trilogy just didn't do much to make any of the characters that great. If anything, Kylo Ren got the best treatment, the most interesting arc, and of course, he's dead. And Adam Driver just said recently that he has no desire to be part of Star Wars anymore anyways. So we get Daisy Ridley and a new movie about the Jedi Order that takes place after the sequel trilogy. I might have said prequel trilogy by mistake a minute ago, but the fact of the matter is there's only one good Star Wars trilogy, and that's the original. But anyways, an director, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, I have no idea if I'm saying that right, but she recently told CNN that it's about time a woman shaped Star Wars. She said, "I'm very thrilled about the project because I feel that what we're about to create is very special. We're in 2024 now, and it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape a story in a galaxy far, far away." So first of all, of course, I'm always happy to have both men or women and women shape Star Wars. However, I'm an equal opportunity guy. That's great. I'd love to have women involved in Star Wars. But Kathleen Kennedy's a woman, man. Woman, man. That sounds weird. Kathleen Kennedy has been in charge of this for a long time now, and has been the boss of Lucasfilm, and has shaped the trajectory of Star Wars for a long, long time now. And look where that's gotten us. Now, I'm not saying that any woman would be just as bad, but the fact of the matter is you can't say it's about time that a woman shaped, because one has been doing that for years, for many movies and series. Granted, a lot of men have been involved in writing and directing, but I mean, look what we've had. Ahsoka was a very female forward show. Rey was the female protagonist of the sequel trilogy. The main character was a woman. In Obi-Wan Kenobi, effectively, Obi-Wan is pushed to the back so that several different female protagonists can be in charge. So we've had, it's not like we've had this lack of female characters or direction in Star Wars. That's not the problem. Having women is not the problem either. I mean, I think it's great that we've got characters like Rey, and I think it's great that we've got shows like Ahsoka. Theoretically, I wish Ahsoka had been a whole lot better than it was. But the problem is not that the Force isn't female enough right now. The problem is that the people in charge of Star Wars suck. They just don't know what they're doing with this IP. And honestly, I don't think anyone has known what to do with the Star Wars IP since Return of the Jedi, up until Andor. I mean, Rogue One was okay, but it's warts and all. It's fine. It's pretty good. It's not the worst. But even George Lucas really didn't know what to do with Star Wars. There was some good stuff in I'm not huge into the cartoons, but there's some good stuff in Clone Wars and Rebels. There's some great books out there. Timothy Zahn's his books, his Thrawn trilogy. I want to say the Zahn trilogy or Timothy Thrawn. You get the Zahn and the Thrawn mixed up. Did he rhyme that name on purpose? No, but the Thrawn books are great. There's some good comic books. There's been some good Star Wars stuff, but really in the cinematic Star Wars IP universe, whatever, since the original trilogy, there just hasn't been that much to get excited about. Prequels were bad. The sequels were mostly bad. There was some good stuff. I was pretty enthusiastic about The Force Awakens. The only thing that really bugged me about that movie was the fact that, well, there were a couple of things. The repeat of the Death Star was super annoying. Like, really? And I was okay with some of the fan service because it had been so long, you kind of expect that, and it's kind of fun. But then, killing off Han Solo is a problem. So, anyways, but I'm getting sidetracked. I'm sorry. The point is, nobody's known what to do with this IP for a long time, and instead of finding somebody who's really enthusiastic about it, about Star Wars, or about who can, or finding the best possible creators, the best possible writers and directors and cinematographers, which we got, with a couple seasons of The Mandalorian before that show just shit the bed, and which we got in Andor, and then some. I'm still amazed at what an amazing, I'm sorry for my repeat of the word amazing right there. No, I'm still amazed that we got such a terrific show in Andor. That was still some of the best Star Wars that's ever been made. But outside of that, it seems like the problem is that either it's too much fan service or it's too much of a focus on other things, like this idea that we need a woman to shape Star Wars going forward. What would South Park say? Put a chick in it, make her lame and gay. That's South Park. That's not me. I think it's fine to have to get. I would love to see some badass female Jedis like that. Like Ahsoka herself's a great character. I just don't love how they actually made her live action. I really think Rosario Dawson was not the right choice for the casting there, and I feel like we just haven't. There has been no vision, no unifying vision of what Star Wars should be, could be, ought to be in the modern era whatsoever. And so we get different, I'm happy that we got the first couple seasons of The Mandalorian. That's a cool show. It's like a Western, and then I'm glad we got Andor, which is more like a World War II drama. But where's the what is the vision here? The sequel trilogy was all over the place. Shows like Ahsoka and Book of Boba Fett feel like they have no center whatsoever. They're just these. I mean, Ahsoka's just so insider baseball. You have to have been a Rebels, and you've had to watch all the animated stuff for that to even work. And what's the point of making a live action show that's only going to appeal to people who've been watching the cartoons? It just doesn't make sense to me. Likewise, with this movie with Rey, who are they? What is the driving force? I've talked about this before, but what is the driving force here to make the driving force to make Star Wars more female? I do want, I don't want every fantasy or every science fiction to be like Lord of the Rings, where there's basically almost no women characters of any significance that aren't just like NPCs, right? Galadriel's a great character, but she's barely in the book. You have, it's a very male centric, so I'm happy to move away from that and have, I was raised on Dragonlance and all kinds of different fantasies that are much more even-footed between male and female characters and so forth. And I think that's great. And I think it's great to have female and male writers and directors and yada yada yada. But at some point, making that the point itself, the focus itself of Star Wars doesn't really add up for me. First of all, as this is what I've talked about before, the bigger audience here for things like Star Wars, for most of these, it's mostly men. I actually want to make a video about Marvel and what I've kind of identified as a problem that Marvel is facing right now, and I think more than Star Wars because there just isn't as much Star Wars content. I want to call it the half-interested girlfriend effect. Okay, if you're producing content that's good, that everybody likes, it means that guys like it first, right? The dudes like this. They want to go see the Avengers. And it's good enough that you can also get the half-interested girlfriends into the movie theaters. You've got a hit. First, it's got to be exciting for the dudes, but it's got to also appeal to the ladies. Boom, you've got a hit. Half-interested girlfriend effect. Your girlfriend wants to go with you to the Avengers. She wants to go with you to Guardians of the Galaxy. She wants to go with you to the new Star Wars. She wants to go with you to these things. Now, she also wants to go see the chick flicks. She also wants to do other things that maybe you don't want to do. But these big blockbusters are appealing to both men and women. That's the sweet spot. Now, you start to instead of making that kind of movie, you start to make movies that appeal to women more. You make them very female-centric, like the Marvels or whatever. you don't get the guys as interested, and the half-interested girlfriends aren't interested anymore either. They're not going with their guys anymore, so nobody's going. You're appealing to a slice to a demographic that doesn't exist. Hardcore female fans of superheroes and stuff, that they exist, but there's not as many of them as guys. It's just a fact. The trick isn't to appeal first and foremost to a female audience. It's to appeal to a broad enough audience that half-interested girlfriends join their boyfriends at the movies. I think this is a pretty solid theory. I really do. I think that this is where where Disney has gotten it really, really wrong. And I think that if they shouldn't focus, they shouldn't just like totally overcorrect and just try to make movies that only appeal to boys. But they should think to themselves, why were these early MCU movies so successful? And partly it's because they were just making fun superhero movies that were like the comics, that appealed to the same people who read the comics. And they were making them with big stars and big budgets and great scripts, give or take, not all of them, but this drew not only just fans of the comics, but fans of those actors, and then girlfriends, wives, kids, boys and girls. Mass appeal. Right? Appeal to the fan base, appeal to the nerds, appeal to the original people who like the comic books, appeal to the original people who like the video games, whatever. Appeal to original Star Wars fans, but also widen it out so more people who aren't as interested, aren't as into it, come as well. We call them, for shorthand, the half-interested girlfriends. That is where Disney is failing. They no longer know who they're even trying to sell these movies to, whether it's Star Wars, whether it's Marvel. And you see this with a comment like this, where it's 2024 now. Anybody who says the year before they say what they're about to say is probably full of some kind of shit. I mean, we've all probably said that at some point. I mean, it's 2024. We've all said this at some point. Anyways, okay. Star Wars. What does Star Wars need? I don't know. Maybe that's a whole nother conversation to be had in a separate video. But fundamentally, Star Wars needs to have great stories that don't focus on the Skywalkers anymore, that aren't concerned about making the Force female or male or anything like that, but that just want to tell great stories in a galaxy far, far away. You can do this in so many different ways. As Andor showed us, you can do that without the Force at all, effectively. And with great female and male characters. And I think one of the things that I love about Andor, it's a super diverse show, right? Super diverse. Racially, gender-wise, it even has a very subtle lesbian relationship. It does all of that without ever sort of acting proud of itself. This is something I think that is so important when you're trying to make more diverse shows, movies, is not that instinct to like pat yourself on the back and smell your own farts while you do it. Like, tell a great story. If the cast is diverse in a great story, people will enjoy it. If you're focusing first and foremost on just checking some diversity boxes and you don't even care about the script, or you're just trying to appeal, again, you're trying to do mass appeal the wrong way, right? Mass appeal doesn't mean you try to appeal to every single person out there. It means you do something really well, and then the people who really like it bring people with them. That's the difference between like the first Avengers movie and the crap that Disney has been putting out this year. Again, same thing with Star Wars. Star Wars, the original trilogy, appealed to such a wide audience because the people who liked that kind of stuff, sci-fi, Dune, all that crap, Lord of the Rings, they brought people with them, and it had enough wide mainstream appeal that those people enjoyed it also. What it didn't do is try to appeal to everybody. And so if you try to appeal to everybody, nobody likes it, right? Because everybody just gets a little scrap of something they want. Make Star Wars. Have the next Star Wars appeal to the same exact people that the original Star Wars trilogy appealed to. Even if that's generally nerds and sci-fi geeks and all that. Because now nerds and sci-fi geeks include a lot more women, and that's okay. They still like women like that stuff. and everyone will bring people to it if it's good. If you build it, they will come. Microphone in the way. Anyways, I'm just rambling at this point. You get my point. You get my drift. I hope. Let me know what you think. I think the half-interested girlfriend theory is a pretty good one. And I think that the fix for this is not to make these movies increasingly diluted by appealing to as many different groups of people as possible, but to make them more focused, but welcoming to more people. So that's my theory. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thank you for watching. Peace.